Okay. Is everybody ready for night shift? I am. I'm getting it going right about now.
Broadcasting live and worldwide. Here's Brody Brazil.
Oh, yeah. We're doing it big time tonight after a 5-1 Sharks win over the Ottawa Senators. It was a one-win San Jose team on home ice. It was a one-win Ottawa team on the road so far this season. So somebody had to get to two. Fortunately, it's the good guys. What a game where the Sharks put 3 shots on net the entire first period. Now, I'm not one to always say shots are everything or, shots dictate completely how the game's going or even who's winning, because really it's more about chances than shots. We've said that before, but to only put 3 shots on Cam Talbot in the first period and then to fire off 22 on him in the second, a total role reversal of the game. The Sharks had 3 shots in the first. They had 3 goals in the second period, and whatever was said by David Quinn or anybody else inside that dressing room, it definitely worked because the Sharks finally ran away with the game. I mean, maybe for the first time this season. Again, I think even in that Dallas game recently where they had a 5-2 lead, ended up winning the contest 5-4. They hung on, but in this one, they kind of put Ottawa away in the second period. And they kind of just continued to milk the game in the third. And that's great. I mean, once in a while, you need a lower maintenance win. One that you don't have to fight it to the very end. You don't have to win it 3-on-3. You don't have to win it via the shootout. I want to say this might be, well, they've had one other home win. Wasn't that via the shootout? I guess what I'm getting at here is this the first home regulation win of the season? I believe it is. And so, 2-7-3, look, still something for this team to get better at, get out of this funk. And I'm not going to harp on this too much, but to end a homestand after 2 frustrating games, it's nice to have this one, and hopefully you build on that. That's kind of the point of why I bring it up. Sharks definitely need to do better at home. Tonight was kind of more along the lines of what you're trying to accomplish, but, let's be honest, tonight was also against a now 6-11-1 Ottawa Senators group. Erik Karlsson just continues to have this monster pace. 30 points now in 21 games. Assist number 18 and 19 on the season, recorded tonight against his former team. He's just creating a ton. And I have to pose it like this. It's not a knock against Brent Burns at all. So I'm not saying this in a negative way or an insulting way, but I think Karlsson's window, not of opportunity, but his window to be creative might have opened up when Burns is not on the team. And it's weird, right? Because those two were never a defensive pair, so they weren't on the ice at the same time. Is it maybe what the forwards are expecting or predicting from him? Is it just a little bit more creativity he can have? I think only he would have the best answer to that. Maybe some of his teammates would too. And ultimately, when we get into the right situation, maybe he could expand on that. Again, I want to be careful in not saying this the wrong way that, Burns is gone and he's happy or something now. No, it's not that. It's literally the strategy side, the X's and O's of Karlsson can do more, maybe now as the official quarterback of the blue line. And I also want to say, too, knock on every piece of wood around you right now, being healthy through the first 21 games. And it's a long season. And I wonder, can he keep this pace up? Is he on a 100-point season tear right now that he can actually do? And especially, let's also be honest about this. Having a season like this on a Sharks team like this, one that's going through transition, one that maybe doesn't, have the most successful lineup. And again, that's not a knock too. I mean, it's you kind of have to ask the question, if Erik Karlsson wasn't having the season he's having, where would the Sharks be after 21 games? I would also say that James Reimer could equally be substituted in that sentence, in that conversation too. Where would the Sharks be without some of his starts and him keeping the team in games? But just going back to, Erik Karlsson, can it sustain? Can it persist? Does it ultimately lead to, I'll tell you what it leads to, interest by other teams, right? He's got their attention right now. But does it ultimately lead to him not being a Shark by the end of this season? And I think, I'll be very blunt, I think what determines that is twofold. Would the Sharks be willing to retain some salary that another team is almost certainly going to ask for of his contract? And also, what would said team be willing to offer the Sharks? Because if the Sharks are going to withhold a little bit and they want to get some cap space, they're also going to want to get something back, something significant back in return. What other teams could fit Karlsson in like that? He's still has no move clauses, I believe, in the contract. He's got some limitations. So what is he interested in? What's he into? But again, just circling back, like looking at 30 points in 21 games, and it's relatively evenly distributed, right? Like 19 assists and 30 goals. 19 assists and 11 goals for 30 points. It's not like he's doing all of one and none of the other. So Erik Karlsson, what could he do the rest of this season? And will he be a Shark the rest of this season? And what are the things, honestly, like behind the scenes to the very core that have put him back in this spot? It's crazy because in spurts, right, over the last couple of years, we would do this segment on TV. Is Karlsson back? Has Karlsson found it? I mean, and the answer was always, quite honestly, no. To a sustained period of time, the answer was generally no. And that's just the way it is. But at this point, if I'm doing that segment, is Erik Karlsson back? Yeah. 21 games, quarter of the season? Yeah. I'd like to see it last. And I'm happy for him. I really am happy for Karlsson. It comes at an interesting time, like, when the team is struggling and turning it around, and it's good for him that he's in this spot and he's getting noticed, and we'll see where it goes. A couple other things I want to get to before we dive into the live chat. And also, I'll say it now, but can we do some roll call? I would love to know where everybody's watching from tonight, where you saw the game, what you thought of the game. So roll call. Let me know where you're watching from. Noah Gregor got his first goal of the season tonight. That's a special one because he's not getting the opportunities he was last year, the same opportunities. He's been a scratch a lot of times. In fact, to the point where a couple games ago, I'm like, where is he? Got in there tonight. We should talk about the Nico Sturm and Radim Šimek injuries. Still very frustrating. Get to those in a second. But the fact that Gregor's in, Gregor gets his first goal, had to be a relief that he gets back in the lineup, and also that he does something with it, scores the first goal, and hopefully for him earns another opportunity. We looked at him, from last year to this year and said, okay, he's getting all the chances. You bury some of those, you have a 15 to 20 goal season, and that is the great progression that everybody would hope for you. Now, first goal 21 games in, that puts him on the 4 pace. So obviously got a lot of catching up to do, and he's always got the raw skills to do it. And I'm wondering, as this would be the very start of this, right? This would be the very earliest of a trend, but is a game like tonight what gets him back in the lineup next time out against Seattle on Wednesday? What does he do there? What does he do on Friday? What does he do on, they play Sunday after that? How does this go from here for him? Another player I'm definitely pulling for. The Sharks knocked Cam Talbot out of the game tonight. Is that the first time this season that San Jose has knocked out an opposition goalie. I think it is. I don't think they've knocked anybody out of the game. And everybody got tacos, by the way, too. See, that's what I've been missing out on. Do I have a tacos? Oh, I know. I have it. Tacos. Oh, I got to do this better. You know what? All right. Forgive me. We're going to try this again. Let me get all set up here for night shift. Okay, we put that on the screen. We'll get this going here. We'll get some tacos. Okay, ready? Tacos. Tacos. 4 goals get you tacos. Thank you. Taco Bell. Remember when it was pizza? 4 goals in the net pizza you get. Remember when in basketball, like the Warriors, I think you had to score like 130 points to get like a similar thing, like a personal pan pizza. And then the NBA went into that theme of all defense for years, and they would barely get 100. I think they had to move it down. Anyway, 4 in hockey that's a good special number, right? 4, you should get rewarded. I'm glad that the Sharks got to that and everybody got their pizza. Oh no, their tacos. Excuse me, their tacos tonight. I was playing the pizza song there. It says Oregon Pizza on here. What else do we have? Sharks night shift. Sharks night shift. Could just score a goal. I should put these all on the same page. Why are they on like 4 different pages here? I got that too. Oh, I know. And you know what else? I've been forgetting on night shift when I'm like wrapping things up. I've been forgetting to play that, and I want to play that more. Okay. What else we had? Noah Gregor. We talked about knocking out a goalie. We talked about Erik Karlsson. Okay. Let's do the whole situation on Nico Sturm, the hit he took from Carpenter, and the hit that Šimek took a couple games ago in Minnesota. It's so frustrating that here's 2 players that obviously suffered head injuries, concussions, and has kept them out of the lineup. Nico lined up like he was going to play tonight. Clearly, he was trying it out, and they made what I think is a smart decision. Look, it's not easy to come to the rink, put all your gear on, go out there for warm-ups, and if it really was a last-minute, like, how do you feel, go or no-go decision, all of us are trained, and not in any right way, but all of us are trained to come in and do the job and finish the job, whatever it takes, and we'll suck it up. And that's a hard call to make. And maybe it was more than just Nico, right? Maybe medical staff was involved too. But it's hard, right? All of us, whatever job you do, I'm sure you probably approach it like, well, if I'm good enough today, I'll figure it out. I'll fight through it. But glad he didn't, if there was any question about it. And I'm glad that David Quinn is offering Radim Šimek some extra days too. It's amazing, in one case, only the Sturm hit, the hit on Sturm into the glass was called a penalty. The one on Šimek wasn't, even though it was a more blatant, like chicken wing, lift you up and hit you in the jaw. The fact that Šimek immediately left the game, didn't come back, and the fact that Sturm left but then came back, you would think that the NHL, and it's weird, like with Sturm, because he came back and played the rest of the game, do they just figure, well, if that was, it was a penalty, so they saw it, the league saw it, did they just figure that, well, he'll be fine, and then they realized tonight, oh, he's not fine, we can't suspend anybody now, like the ship has already sailed. I'm just here to say that once we get to the point of a player needing to go into like concussion protocol, as soon as that concussion protocol is triggered, the league should automatically have to come out with some type of decision-making process explanation on discipline, suspension, fine, whatever, right? If a hit sent a player into medical attention, then we, the NHL, after every one of those hits, because they don't happen, like that doesn't happen all the time. It does not happen once a game. Maybe across the league, it happens once every few nights. I think, right? I mean, I feel like that's fair enough to say. And I'm not asking the league to do a ton of work. I'm not asking them to, but literally, if I can sit here and make a damn YouTube video on every topic every single day, you, the NHL, can make a video and say, okay, here's the, what game was that from? 2 nights ago. I'm totally spacing out. Rangers, Sharks and Rangers. Here's the Ryan Carpenter hit into the first period. Here's what happened. Here's the way we saw it. Here's why this is not a suspendable offense. Yes, it was ruled a penalty, but here's what we see. That's all I'm asking for. But to gloss over it and pretend like it didn't even happen. And I would say this in defense of a Sharks player hitting an opponent. I just want a little bit more clarity on what is it you guys are looking at for standards. 2 hits, concussed players, both intentional. One was a penalty, one wasn't. Neither were fines, neither were suspensions, neither were even discussed after the night they happened. Kind of stinks. Let's get into the live chat. What do you say here? Is my voice almost cracking there? It's actually holding up a little bit better tonight than the other night, or than I thought it would. Big Bird, I appreciate that. You like me and Hannah as a team. Obviously, we don't work as much, but we have so much better chemistry than Curtis and I. It's not it's more of like we're more like Ninja Turtles, me and Hannah, versus like Brownie thinks it's Batman and Robin. I'll chirp at every chance. I really will. It's official. Scott Hannon's wife needs to cut his hair before every game. The mohawk work. Yeah, you knew that his wife is the barber on that chop. So yeah, it was tight tonight. He had the tight mohawk working. Bradley's living in Indianapolis, but from Los Altos. Going to bed now. Oh, this was earlier that it's 1:38 a.m. You'll watch it tomorrow. Bradley, that's awesome, and I hope you end up seeing this. And let me just say, the fact that you're even up that late, this is what stinks about sports and East and West Coast time zones. Now, you're just a fan, which I appreciate you being here for this, but imagine if you were, somebody working in our business. Like right now, hypothetically, if I'm an East Coast, media person and my team is out west playing San Jose, I'm doing this at 2 a.m. I would not be doing this at 2 a.m, and I love it, but I would not be doing this. 11 at night is fine, but 2 a.m, it's crazy. Sharks fangirl, we are broadcasting from the tank Friday. We'll be there on Friday, and I'll be wearing my reverse retro Sharks Seals mashup. Brody out there getting his head shaved into a mohawk. I talked to Hannah about that. I said it's not a funny joke. I said next pandemic, I'm doing the mohawk. First game, Capo's confidence seemed to be growing. He played well. And you know what, Big Bird, thank you so much for mentioning that. I feel like I failed to really sell that topic earlier. If he isn't as solid as he is in the first period, I think Sharks get behind a couple goals, they lose. And also this, James Reimer had made 5 starts in a row. And I'm not sure if it was by nature or by design or by necessity or... normally I don't know that would be the expectation that you want one of your guys to go 5 games in a row. Kakkonen had not played in 11 days, had only made 6 starts this entire season in the first 20 games. So getting a little bit, maybe, I'll say it, maybe a little bit rusty. And it didn't look that way tonight. Did allow a first period goal, but was perfect and flawless after that. And I just said, in our pregame show that he not only wants the win, but if he really wants to gain traction with tonight as an opportunity, he'll have to do it and send a message. And when you hold Ottawa to 1, I think that is sending a message. And I think tonight on the scoreboard, the 5 says something about the Sharks, like 3 shots after 1 period. The 5, says something, and the 1 they allowed says something. By the way, for the Sharks, 2 goals on 5 shots, 3 goals on 7 shots, and then they started getting the volume, 4 goals on what was their first 21 shots, which is still a pretty good ratio, but 2 to 5 and 3 to 7, yeah, those are crazy numbers, and that's obviously why Cam Talbot got pulled out of the game. Chris says, fun game to watch. Man, I'm way behind. Brutus saying what's up to everybody. Big Bird, can't remember a win like this in a couple of years. Yeah, and again, just the kind of run away with it feel. It's been a while since one of these has happened. Need to continue this momentum. Let's hope the boys can keep playing like they did. This looked like Sharks hockey that we all know and love. I would agree with that to a certain extent. Timo scored, so you all know I'm happy. Not the prettiest goal. That was an interesting angle, but it just goes to show you, sometimes it's quantity and quality at the same time. Tony wondering, what is my assessment of the Sharks' team chemistry after the first quarter of this season? Are they solidifying into a pseudo-contender, or about to liquefy? It's a great question, Tony. And here we are, 21 games in, 7, 11, and 3. So 7 wins, 14 losses. They essentially win a game and then lose 2, and then win 1 and lose 2. So I would say this, going back to whatever report that was from about 2 to 3 weeks ago, when it was said that Mike Grier would trade almost anybody on the team except for Tomas Hertl. I think, in a way, as much as they were bound to turn things around, I'm trying to time out when that was reported and when the team kind of found their way a little bit better. Because sometimes a statement like that, true or not, and it didn't, Mike Grier didn't come out of his mouth, but if it's believable enough inside a room, guys are looking around at each other and, kind of like, let's respond to that. And not let's respond to that in some, sinister way, but like, okay, all right, I see how this might go and the course we're on, and they lose their first 4 or 5 games this year. So I wonder if that was a bit of a turning point, because honestly, since then, you saw results. You saw a team that has a little bit more of an identity. You got a team that's scoring 3 and 4 and sometimes 5 goals a night like tonight. Because before that, 0s, 1s, and 2s, and they were just flat. It did not. They looked like how they were tonight in the first period was how they were for 60s at a time. Second periods were bad. And Reimer was doing his thing. They just could not give him any support. So assessing the chemistry, I would say that if you ask me after 5 games, nothing special and not great. Not bad, but not great. After 21 games, there's something there. There's a productive, and this is me outside looking in of the room. It's not world class. It's not a team that knows it's going to the playoffs. But for a team that is, maybe even on the cusp of being broken up, maybe a team that may not have several of its key players even by the end of this season, all that considered, this is still a team that's put together pretty well, driven. It's not all over the place. It doesn't seem like it's unraveling by any means. And that does happen even in professional sports. So are they solidifying into a proto-contender, a pseudo-contender? About to liquefy, I would say the way they liquefy is if there's a couple players not on the team. And as I said before, where are the Sharks through 21 games without Erik Karlsson's 30 points and offensive creativity? Where are they at? Depends who they have in his place. Where are the Sharks without James Reimer this year and all the starts he's made and keeping them in games? So liquefying would be if they didn't have the same players as they've had before. If it were this group, I still think they're on, the outside of, and look, the standings will tell you this too. They're still on the outside looking in of contending. So, and I don't mean to be cruel about this. I think we're all just being real about the situation. Where are they at? What are they trying to do? How can they make value out of this season by identifying the pieces you have, what you want to keep, what might be best to flip, create a little cap space, understand that the Barracuda are doing their thing. We just saw Bordelot got his first pro hat trick. Eklund's been, producing some points, and you're trying to, I really like the way Mike Grier has got that Barracuda team together, coming up together, earning it together. He's not, Cicek is check this out, Cicek. He's the only rookie, the first and only rookie that the Sharks are utilizing this year. And they did it out of necessity, right? When Shemek got hurt. I really like the fact that they're not going to that well. So I know this is a lot of different topics, but going back to the chemistry thing, yeah, it's a great it's a great question, and hopefully I could give you a best observation possible. The chemistry is good. Everything else, the contender part of it, I don't know. But the biggest dictator of that is whether the team stays together or not pre-trade deadline. Felix, what's going on, buddy? How you doing? Oh, you just knocked on wood. That's how far behind I am here on the live stream. Was there a roll call? Did I totally skip that? I think I need to go back to that because I know you said Fremont, Chris is in Benicia, Riley's in Sacramento. By the way, I've got a Sacramento Kings video dropping tomorrow. I think you're going to like that one. South City, Sofa City, San Mateo. Oh, I like that. Lawrenceville, Georgia. It is very early or late in the night or early in the morning in Georgia. I appreciate that. Yes, we need to talk. Oh, Chelsea. Wait a second. As in Sharks pre- and post-game producer, Chelsea, on the live chat? Why are you on the live chat? You're probably downstairs in the live chat, aren't you? East Coast, that's Big Bird. I don't know about hate bias, but they just need to do a better job of transparency. That's all. If the NHL and the Department of Player Safety actually reinforce the rules properly, especially with the headshots, would there be as much of a need for fighting in this sport? Probably. Dirty stuff happens and, guys take offense. But I'm just here to say, if we're at the point where, oh, yeah, we need a spotter to tell if he has a concussion or not, then shouldn't we also be at the point where, yeah, we're going to explain the decision we made on that, not be so secretive? I'm asking a lot of them, I know. Just make a video. Make a damn video like I do. It's not that hard. Oh, I think my voice is finally going. Matthew saying, great night. Hey, 49ers won in Mexico City. They beat the Cardinals. I saw that. Cardinals quarterback, Kyler Murray. He played right. I'm sorry, I didn't watch much of the game. Oh, first in the NFC West. That's great. Let's see what else we got here. Riley. Appreciate that. You want to see those new reverse retros? Oh, on Friday, right? At the tank, I'll be wearing mine, and Curtis does not have one, so he'll be super jealous. Excuse me. Just had to get the frog out there. All right. I think that's going to be the end of it because Brazil is getting a little bit froggy here. It's something about the late nights. And, yeah. And you know what? Let me just address this because I just saw it pop up. Always appreciate you talking candidly about health, both mental and physical. It's just one thing that I have observed over the years, and especially with hockey, is that these players, they're trained to do this. They're trained to lie about injuries. They're trained to play through everything. And granted, some things like my ankle hurts right now, but I came to work and I'm limping around and whatever. But there is something to be said about, are you injured or are you hurt? But at the same respect, that line is so blurry. These players are trained to do whatever it takes. Otherwise, it's a shame on them. That's ridiculous. They're doing amazingly risky things with their body on a regular basis. And, if you're Nico Sturm and you warmed up tonight, I give him a lot of credit for making that hard decision, saying, I can't do it. This ain't right. So, bad for him that he's in that spot, but good for him that, he was either part of that decision or was honest enough about it to not actually push it. All right. Going to close out night shift. Say thank you to everybody for watching. I got a few good videos coming down the pipeline, so stay tuned for that here on the channel. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. And be safe, everybody. Have a great holiday week. I know a lot of kids are off school, so enjoy that if that's your situation. And I will see you here probably on Wednesday night after the Sharks and Kraken game. Let's get it cracking.